Okay, hello and good morning everyone. Welcome to JFD Brokers Traders Espresso with me, Darius Anucauskas. Today's the 30th of November 2018, so welcome everyone. Welcome to this Friday's morning session where we're going to have a look at the markets, a few charts. As always guys, so before we start looking at that, let's quickly have a read through our risk disclaimer. So the content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendation, should not be considered as such, and does not in any way constitute an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. As always, a few seconds for you to read the rest and we can continue. Okay guys, so let's continue. So as yesterday, as I said yesterday, as I'm currently running this session remotely here from one of our offices in a different country. So quite exciting, but and at the same time, guys, I do apologize if there are any technical glitches or technical issues. So, but I'll try to keep it as smooth as possible. Okay, guys. So now then, the charts. So the first one I want to quickly look at is the DAX. Now looking at this one, you can see that looking at this daily chart, you can see that it continues to trade here within this very narrow range, and it's currently kind of stuck here, stuck within it. And of course what we're going to do here is, of course, we're going to wait until it kind of moves out of it, because looking at this picture here, we can see that yes, I mean, we are trading above this little short-term downside resistance line, which in a way could be a bullish sign here for the near-term, from the near-term perspective, where we could see maybe a travel further up here. But of course, again, like I said, we need to be very cautious on this one. Let me just jump into a 4-hour chart and just to show you what's happening right now. So, or should I say, what was happening yesterday, so what we could expect on the market open. So basically, very simple here, we're still trading within this little range here, slightly a bigger one, of course, between the 11,000 level on the downside and the 11,680, 700, something like that. So we're stuck in this 700, approximately around 700 point range here. So of course we could see the index kind of continuing to trade within it, but from the very short term perspective, you can see, like I said, we do have this little short term range here between the 11,275 level on the downside and the 11,400 level on the upside. So in a way, this could be our gateways here. If we get a nice break above this level, above the 11,400, we could in a way see this one traveling maybe towards the upper bound of the this bigger range that that the index is sitting in right now, so the 11,700 area, which also coincides, well, it will probably coincide by the time if the index gets up here, it would coincide with this 200 EMA shown as the black line on the 4-hour chart. So very good potential area of resistance here. This is where the price could stall for a little bit, but if the bulls continue to dictate the rules here, I mean, we could see further acceleration here to the upside, maybe even going towards the 11,850 level. But of course, that's a bit of a long shot here. First, let's see what he wants to do with this little range here. So if we get a nice pop here above this upper bound of this very short-term little range, then yep, we could see further acceleration to the upside. But if this, let's say, suddenly drops below here, below this little range, and then travels back down here below this short-term downside resistance line here, taken from the high of the 27th of September. Now this is where it could become interesting for the bears again, and of course a drop below the 11,215, 200 level, something like that, approximately there, could potentially drag this index back down here towards these lows that we saw around October time and November time, and that was approximately in between 11,050 and the 11,000 level. So in a way, you could actually just stick to the psychological 11,000 levels and see how that performs, because if we do get a break here below, well, I mean, this could turn out to be ugly for this index and going, well, closer to New Year. So we could see maybe a further decline here further down. So, and as mentioned in one of my previous videos where I was talking about DAX, we do have the 10,825 level here as potential area of support, which was marked here by the highs that we saw around November time and October time of 2016. So quite an important level this one becomes, but again, this is a bit of a long shot as well. First we need to see how this index deals with this little short-term range here. If we get a nice pop to the upside, that's wonderful for the bulls. We could see a bit of acceleration here to the upside. On the downside, well, we would need to see this one dropping back down below this downside resistance line in order to kind of, let's say, start considering a possible move towards the 11,000 level. Let's jump into one of the commodities, or should I say precious metal, and this is not something that you probably look at very often, but nevertheless is quite interesting right now. So this is platinum. Now looking at this one, you can see that platinum this week already kind of broke this short-term upside support line here, very short-term I would probably say, that it was running here from the 4th of September, from the low of the 4th of September. It was in a bit of a tentative one, but nevertheless we saw a nice break here where it opened the path towards this next area, or this next upside support line here that has been running from the low of the 16th of August. So just let me just jump into a 4-hour chart on this one, just kind of show you what's happening here. Let me just load up here. There we go. So this is what's happening right now with this upside support line. You can see that the it's kind of getting a break here below, so it's breaking lower, and certainly this is not a very positive indication for this commodity, for this precious metal. So we could potentially see this one driving further down. To be honest, because the day has just started and we're already around here, around just slightly below this upside support line, to be honest, we're going to take a very cautious approach here, and or should I say maybe more of a conservative approach, and we're going to wait until, let's say, if this drops below the 808 level, 808.5, something like that, which was basically the low of this one of the 8th of October. Now this is where it could become interesting for the bears, and we could see them driving this commodity lower here towards the lows of the 28th of September, which were near the 804 mark, near 805, something like that. But if that doesn't hold, we do have some better areas of potential support here near the 790 level. So basically, long story short, guys, for now, even though it is kind of pushing slightly to the downside here, still a better confirmation would be a break of the 808 level, so approximately there, and this is where we could aim for much lower levels. Of course, the 805 that I was just talking about, the psychological 800 level itself, but like I said, a much better one is here around the 790 level. So keep your eyes on that one. On if, let's say, this suddenly reverses back down and stays above this upside support line, of course this is going to be our neutral zone that we're going to be keeping an eye on, because for us to, let's say, to get more comfortable with